Hey everyone, welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most nerve-wracking moments in anyone's career, the job interview. But don't worry, we're going to build a complete step-by-step guide to help you absolutely master it.
I mean, really think about it for a second. You do all that work. You build a perfect resume. You spend hours applying. And it all boils down to this: 30 to 40 minutes. That's it. That's pretty much the only time you get to prove you're the one. It's kind of a crazy thought, right? Is that tiny window of time really enough to decide your whole professional future? I mean, the pressure is just massive. This one little chat can literally decide if you're in or you're out. The stakes? Yeah, they couldn't be higher.
So, how do we turn this high-stakes test into your next big opportunity? Well, here's our game plan. We're going to cover why it's the most important test, then dive into pre-interview prep, nail that first impression, create a killer Q&A strategy, talk salary negotiation, and finally, cover that last step of changing jobs. Okay, first up, the interview as the most important test. Look, it's a short conversation, but its impact is absolutely enormous. It's the final hurdle, you know? It's where the company decides if the awesome person they see on paper is the real deal they want to bring on board. Which leads us perfectly into our next section, preparation before the interview. And here's the thing. The real secret to a great interview isn't some magic that happens in the room. Nope, it's all about the work you put in beforehand. That's how you build the confidence you need to succeed before you even walk in the door. And that preparation, it's all about having a system. Think of it like this. If you follow these 5 steps, you're building a solid foundation. First, really get that job description. Then, research the company. Go back and review your own CV. Master your personal grooming. Yes, it matters. And finally, practice those common questions. If you do this, you're getting rid of any surprises, and that's what lets your confidence really shine.
And speaking of grooming, look, I know it seems basic, but do not underestimate this stuff. We're talking clean hair, trimmed nails, ironed clothes, polished shoes, all of it. Personal cleanliness is just non-negotiable. It sends this powerful message before you even open your mouth. It says, I'm professional, I respect this opportunity, and I pay attention to the details.
And let me be super clear about this next part. All that other stuff is important, but your performance in answering questions, that is what determines if you get the job, period. It all comes down to how well you can talk about your skills and your value. That's why practicing your answers isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely critical. All right, let's talk about the first impression. You know the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression? Well, it is 100% true here. Those first few seconds, the first minute, that can set the stage for the entire conversation. And what's the very first signal you send? Punctuality. You want to aim to get there about 20 to 30 minutes early. It just screams that you're reliable, you're serious about the role, and you're prepared. Plus, let's be real, it gives you a little buffer to catch your breath, calm your nerves, and get in the zone. So it really comes down to these 4 pillars of a great greeting. You've got punctuality, arrive early, a professional appearance, dress the part, a confident greeting, we're talking a firm handshake, good eye contact, and universal courtesy, be polite to everyone you meet, from the person at the front desk to the CEO. You put those 4 together and you're making a powerful statement that says, yep, I belong here. Okay, now we're getting into the heart of it, the Q&A strategy. This is the main event, the part everyone thinks about. And guess what? It almost always kicks off with the exact same question. And there it is. Tell me about yourself. The classic. It sounds so simple, so open-ended, right? But make no mistake, it's a test. They're not actually asking for your entire life story. What they're really looking for is how well you communicate, how confident you are, and if you can get straight to the point. So the absolute key here is to have a structure. You don't want to just ramble on. The best way is a simple 3-part formula. Step 1, just state your name. Step 2, go into your years of experience, your current role, and what you do. And step 3, wrap it up with your educational background. That's it. It's clean, it's professional, and it's super easy for them to follow. Okay, and here is a little pro tip, a bit of strategy for you. The interviewer's next question, it's almost always based on the very last thing you said. So think about it. You can actually steer the conversation. By ending with, say, your degree or a specific project, you're basically teeing them up to ask about something you're super prepared to talk about. You're not just a passenger here, you're helping to navigate.
All right, let's move on to the part that makes pretty much everyone a little sweaty palmed, negotiating the salary. But this is so important. It's all about asking for what you're worth with confidence. When it comes to salary, it's like there are two voices battling it out in your head. You've got fear on one shoulder, whispering, what if they pull the offer? Just take what they give you. But then you've got confidence on the other, saying, no, I've done the research, I know my value. Your job is to listen to that second voice. Your goal is to operate from a place of confidence, and that confidence comes from being prepared.
So how do you do that? You need a game plan. First, decide on your number before you even go to the interview. Do your homework, use your network, look online, figure out the market rate. Then, when the time comes, state your expectation with confidence. And hey, if they ask about your current salary, don't let it throw you off your game. You have to push past that fear of the offer being withdrawn. You've got to own your value. Okay, we're almost at the finish line. Let's talk about the final step of changing jobs. So you've aced the interview, you've got the offer, awesome. But hold on, there's one last super important step to make sure this whole transition is smooth and professional. And this brings us to what I call the golden rule of resignation. And it's simple. Never, ever resign from your current job until you have the official, signed offer letter from the new company in your hands. I'm serious. A verbal offer is nice, but it's not a contract. This one rule protects you, and it is absolutely 100% non-negotiable. And look, when you do resign, always leave on good terms. Be professional, be cordial. You'd be surprised how small your industry can feel sometimes. The last thing you ever want to do is burn a bridge. Just leave gracefully and keep those relationships intact. So let's step back for a second. We've gone through this whole journey together, right? We've mastered the prep, the first impression, the Q&A, even the salary talk. After all of that, what's the one thing that all this work really gives you? What's the one thing you can now bring to any interview? It's this unshakable confidence. That's the real prize here. Every single thing we've talked about, every step, every strategy, it's all designed to build that one crucial asset. Because at the end of the day, that feeling of being completely prepared and confident, that's what interviewers can spot from a mile away. So there you have it. That's the map. The playbook for interview success is right in front of you. The strategies are clear, the steps are totally doable. The only question left is, now that you have the map, where is your journey going to take you next?